Jayson Tatum, less than 10 months after suffering the Achilles tear in the playoff game against the New York Knicks, will be in the lineup for the Boston Celtics coming up later on tonight against the Dallas Mavericks. I know, LaVar, you've dealt with the Achilles issue before. I'm kind of surprised that he's back this soon, but here we go with the return of Jayson Tatum to an already really good Boston Celtics team who probably didn't expect they were going to be in this spot at this point in the year.
A really good Jaylen Brown led Boston Celtics team, we should add. And listen, I look at it like this. The professional, even just any type of competition, right? College, pro, even high school. When you've established yourself as the guy, you're the franchise, things are handled a certain type of way. You do things a certain type of way. You're treated a certain type of way. The respect factor is very different. When you get injured, there's a moment of truth, right? It either further solidifies your efforts that you've put forth as a healthy player and how the team has been able to accomplish. And when that participation is gone due to an injury, it either shows, yep, Jayson Tatum is the reason why we were able to win. We got a championship, world title. We're set for the future, right? You got a sidekick in Jaylen Brown, but Jayson Tatum is the guy. Jayson Tatum goes down, but yet this team is second in the Eastern Conference. They're 41 and 21 on the season, and they're in great position to make a deep run in the NBA playoffs. It has emerged that Jaylen Brown could be in the conversation of being the new face and franchise player for this Celtics team. So now Jayson Tatum is tasked with not only coming back and playing, but now he may be saddled with the pressure of coming back as quickly as he possibly can before you realize that the value of you being the franchise guy all but dissipates fully from the situation.
It's a really interesting call by Boston, by Tatum, because if they weren't this good, I wonder if this is even a conversation. Because if you look at two other examples around the league, Damian Lillard and Tyrese Halliburton, both tore their Achilles in the playoffs last year. There's not even a thought that they're going to come back because those two teams are awful. Okay, the highlight of the Blazers season thus far was a guy with the ruptured Achilles winning the three-point contest.
Which, by the way, he went back to the Blazers.
Right.
Considering that he tore it somewhere else and they didn't need him there.
Yeah, so the two highlights for the Blazers this year, not to call out the Blazers fan base, but your two highlights are an injured guy winning the three-point contest and your coach involved in some poker scheme. Okay. So, like, you got card counters and three-point shootout winners. You don't have a good team. All right, maybe a little bit better than expected. And then Indiana is awful. Okay. Whatever happened last year in Indiana, they are the diaper fire of the East. They might finish with the worst record in the league. And so the Pacers and Blazers are like, hey, guys, take your time. Take your time. You know, we've got a legitimate excuse this year. We're terrible. All of a sudden, Boston starts out the year, and it's like, whoa. Nobody thought this was going to happen. There was the feeling was, hey, man, it's a throwaway year. And it's not even just the Jayson Tatum stuff. Al Horford gone. Drew Holiday gone. Kristaps Porzingis gone. Those were all key members of the title team just a couple of years ago, but they were trying to get below the second apron, so they just said, hey, man, these are salary cap casualties, is what it is. This isn't our year. Our best player's gone. We'll just roll out. We'll try and compete as hard as we can. Maybe we'll sneak in and be a 7 or an 8 team. We'll be in the play-in tournament, whatever, but we're just going to roll this season and really going to focus on 2027. And then all of a sudden, they're this through 60-plus games, and I just wonder, Are you making this decision if not for the fact that this team's a legitimate title contender, especially with Tatum back?
It's, again, the points you make are accurate points, right? The teams that you're discussing, they aren't competitive teams. You look at this Celtics team and where they were at and the conversations that were ensuing, that were taking place in real time. It was always Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Yep.
And being in second place, Jayson Tatum is not available all season long, and Jaylen Brown is averaging what is it, 29 points, 7 rebounds per game, and they're atop the Eastern Conference. So they're second place. If you're looking at where things go from here on out, does it go back to Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, or does it stay Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum? And insert Jayson Tatum. I think that is a very real conversation. I think the Celtics feel confident about where they're at. Outside of there being some really, really big names, like SGA is in pole position to get MVP again. You're seeing I don't know if y'all watched Wemby last night, but Wemby is balling, man.
I saw him hanging out outside of a car dealership. There was some sale going on.
Wemby's foot is as long as this desk. His foot is as long as this desk we're sitting at doing this.
Him and Chet Holmgren should just go as wind puppets for Halloween the next 70 years. Just do that, costume covered, cheap, inexpensive. Throw some drapes on and let's call it a day.
Wemby takes 2 steps. His foot, the tip of his toe from getting a rebound, is at midcourt in 2 steps.
Oh, yeah.
The tip of his toe is at midcourt in 2 steps.
Yeah. He doesn't have feet. He's got skis.
They're talking about Michael Jordan and Dr. J doing dunks from the free throw line. Wemby's toe, in his reach, he could probably move it back to, I don't know, midcourt.
Oh, of course, yeah.
We're going to start seeing Wemby take off. He's going to do the dunk contest. He's going to take off from midcourt and dunk the ball.
Yeah.
Like that, never seen before.
On his ass.
Hit the long, bro. And his foot's still going to be on the ground at midcourt when he takes off. He's just going to super stretch. Outside of these high-profile guys being up for the MVP, Jaylen Brown's name is in the conversation for league MVP this year. Some have him as high as 2. DeMarcus Cousins has gone on record, says he's as high as the second best player in the NBA, all the way up to 6 to 8, where his name falls in terms of best player MVP. But if we're being real, does Jaylen Brown have the same supporting cast that SGA does? Does he have the same supporting cast as what Wembanyama has? I would say no. You just mentioned Horford's gone. Jayson Tatum hasn't been around. There's a different group of people. It's a new group of people this season for the Celtics, and yet they're playing at a high level, which would lead to the conversation of, is he the most valuable player to his team? Maybe they're not the best team, but they're certainly up there with the best teams. So you can use the criteria that they have a really competitive team, a good team that's ranked high, because you have to win for them to consider you an MVP. And now you see Jayson Tatum sitting back watching like, I can't let the ship get too far. He's swimming, bro. It ain't docked.
Well, that's what I wonder.
It's not boarding the ship. That ship has sailed, but can he catch it, and can he board this ship and reestablish himself for what it was that he once was before the injury?
And that's what I wonder is, does he feel like if they were, a 500 team, is he in any rush to get back? No, take your time. And I can understand the approach of, well, if you're doing this good without him, why would you even force the issue? But I wonder how much of this is him. How much of this is Tatum going, man, I want back in. And that's why I asked, because you went through the Achilles. What
I
is
retired.
that? Like what does that look like?
That thing had a grown man in tears, bro, and I got a pretty high pain threshold. And I limped. I limped for like 2-3 years after I got that surgery. Like it was a very pain. I've been through some painful things. I've been
Was
through
it a
a
limp or a
motorcycle
lean?
accident. Both.
Yeah.
You know, both a lean and a limp. You know, because when you moving around with that hammer, sometimes you lean and sometimes you limp. But this one in particular was based off of me limping because my Achilles tendon was really tight. It was really sore, and it just felt like if you don't know what it feels like to injure a part as important as your Achilles, you realize it after. And I likened it to like air in a tire. I didn't realize you could say, okay, air in a tire for your feet and for your legs, but it really felt like the bounce and the reactiveness of my foot was gone. It was gone. Like the movement of how you pop off of your toes and on your foot and that torque that goes through the bottom of your leg into your calf muscle and then shoots up into your quads and then back into the glutes. It was gone. It was gone. And so you have to figure out, many have done it. I mean, it's very commonplace to come back from that type of injury and that type of procedure. Many have done it, but it is very difficult and it is time consuming. It's almost as time consuming, and it's almost, I mean, it's the biggest, I believe it's the biggest ligament in your body, your ACL. I mean, your Achilles tendon. It's the biggest tendon in your body. And it's just, that's a difficult injury to come back from and be effective like you once were, let alone come back in an abbreviated amount of time to do so.
We're going to catch up with Dr. David Chow coming up later on as soon as he gets done sparring Ryan Leaf at an octagon somewhere, whenever that gets figured out. But I bring that up because Reggie Miller was on the Dan Patrick Show, which you can hear on many of these Fox Sports Radio affiliates, and he sort of explained the reasoning why some feel that Tatum is also coming back sooner than a Tyrese Halliburton and a Dame Lillard. Let's take a listen.
The best thing, if there was, knock on wood, the best thing when he tore his Achilles in Game 5, I believe, in New York, that the doctor was right there, that they attached it right away. And the thinking was the body didn't even know that it had that traumatic experience. That's how quickly, within 24 hours, they had the surgery on the Achilles. So that's why he is so far ahead of schedule versus a Damian Lillard or a Tyrese Halliburton, is because they had the surgery within 24 hours.
You're not buying that? You're not buying that? What do you?
Hell no.
You're not Reggie Miller, MD. You're not going to buy his thought process there.
First of all, the body is way more intelligent than any doctor that will ever work on you.
Yeah, and looking at Jayson Tatum after the injury, it sure seemed like his body knew what was going on. Like, I'll be honest with you.
Don't give it time to know that it's torn. Then just finish the game.
You look like the guy going through the wood chipper on Fargo.
How much time is that you have that has to elapse before your body knew that you died? You know, like,
that's a theory.
Hey, just give him some mouth to mouth before he realized that he died. You know.
Yeah, it's a theory.
I love Reggie Miller, but I'm not in on this one. I'm not. You heard Dan like, oh, really? Like, huh? Like, hey, cut, go to break. Reggie he's officially lost it.
And that's, and he's passing the message on from whatever, was said on the documentary. I just, look, and people heal differently and people heal faster than others.
That is true. I mean, people heal differently.
Adrian Peterson came back from that knee injury and was, like, there was no difference between when he came back from knee injury and when he didn't, other than, not being able to keep his left hand up in a scuffle after a poker game. But that, again, we're not bringing up the old stuff.
Okay.
But so there's different, people heal differently. I understand that timelines can be a little different. It just feels like a lot of this was sped up because of how the team is done without him. if they were 500, if they were below 500, I don't think there's a shot in hell he comes back.
That would have been
the
the better question to ask Reggie Miller. That would have been the better question. Like, didn't that happen with Clay and Steph Curry? Wasn't Clay Thompson the main dude? And then in some way, somehow, I don't know if injury was connected to it, but didn't Steph Curry, like, take the reins, like, they, like, became the main guy, and it never changed. Never turned back. He became the franchise guy. He became the face of the franchise, legend, Hall of Famer, GOAT. There's not going to be a better player that has ever played for the Golden State Warriors than Golden State? Yeah, Golden State Warriors. Than Steph Curry. So I think this is a necessity move. Whether that's the entirety of it, it doesn't have to be untrue that he wants to come back and he wants to play.
Of course.
But if you're not going to add into the equation the amount of pressure mounting on Jayson Tatum, looking at this Jaylen Brown-led team, like imagine if Michael Jordan went out and was injured due to a ACL or a Achilles tendon injury, and while he's out, Scottie Pippen is just going nuts.
Look at the Nick Foles, Carson Wentz stuff. Carson Wentz was never the same.
It was never the same.
Like he always.
And he don't have a statue. And he was on that team.
That knee injury that he suffered against the Rams at the Coliseum, which, by the way, is an outhouse, or at least it was back then. But that injury he suffered at the Coliseum, that changed the course of his career.
Yes, it did.
Because
where's he now?
I think he's in Minnesota.
Is he? He's still in the league?
I think.
There it is.
Because I think he always felt like, wow, I was on track to be an MVP and potentially a Super Bowl champion as a starter and maybe a Super Bowl MVP. And instead, my backup went in there and did it. I don't think he ever got over that.
Bro, they call the place Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
There was a moment in time where they said Pennsylvania. That's how well he was doing that season. You couldn't grow any more hype and excitement around the player. So you're 100% spot on in that reference. And need I say, Jaylen Brown is a number one guy on 90% of the NBA teams.
And also, by the way, when they won their title, who was the MVP of those finals?
Jaylen Brown.
Yeah. So like it's not as if, this is a real surprise, but it does bring up an interesting dynamic of,
hey man,
what does that look like?
I'm the captain of this ship now, player. Hey, my ship now.
I'm the captain now.
I'm the captain now.